as a sort of rare commodity. Everybody has it. Existence is love. Because you see, in tying up love in knots and becoming incapable of it, you can't destroy this energy. When you won't love and you won't let it out, the thing comes out in the form of self-destruction. So everybody has the force running. The thing is, first of all, to get it moving. To follow whatever kind of love you have in the first place. The first thing then is to discover what indeed you do love, if anything, and you will find there is something. And then go into the nature of that. Now, it's said that selfish people love themselves. I would say that that is really a misunderstanding of the whole thing. If you explore what you love when you say you love yourself, you will make the startling discovery that everything you love is something which you thought was other than yourself. You suddenly discover that yourself is bigger than you thought it was. It includes the other, and you can't do without it. This brings about a fundamental change in the understanding of the meaning and nature of self. And thereupon, there become a change of attitude to other people. Your love, which is what you are, begins to express itself quite naturally and unaffectedly in a wider way.
Now you may ask, well, how are we going to love? I don't think that's quite the question. It isn't so much how or where are we going to get the love from. We all have it. It's simply deep down in us, bursting to get out. The desire to love and to be loved is, I think, probably the deepest thing that there is in us. Certainly, if the relationship of infancy to the rest of life have any truth in them at all. And so it's a matter of seeing that this deeply repressed love must be let out.
Yes, sir. Let that love out, y'all. Let that love out. Let that love out. All right, so let's see. Growing up mentally. What does this look like? 6 signs people grew up with depression.
Stop writing essays with ChatGPT. It sounds too AI, so you have to rewrite everything.
He tries to go back home. He tries to go back to what he was. And he can't do that anymore. Carl Jung talked about this phenomenon. He described as retrogressive restoration of the persona. And so it's a complicated idea, but basically what it means is that sometimes you take a leap forward and you learn some things, but you can't catalyze a new identity, so you try to go back and hide in your old identity. And that actually doesn't work because, well, things have changed and you've learned something and that isn't who you are anymore. And so it's like you have to cut parts of yourself off in a destructive manner to fit back into the person that you were. Now what happens here is that Pinocchio escapes from this tyrannical situation and undergoes this descent into chaos, but he tries to go back home. He tries to go back to what he was, and he can't do that anymore. His father isn't at home anymore. And so when he goes home, he finds that there's no home there. This happens to people sometimes, and that's got to be an unpleasant place to be. That's got to be an unpleasant place to be.
I thought this was a dream come true for us.
It's your dream. You can't force a dream onto someone else, Dad.
Yes, I can. I can force a dream on you.
Why are you yelling?
Because it's a good dream.
One of the things that I've suggested to my clients and to other people sometimes is that here's a weird little exercise that you can undertake, a little thought experiment. So you have your parents, and of course your parents have friends who are about their age, and maybe some of them are people you only know peripherally. And I might ask you, well, do you care more about what your parents think than you care about what these peripheral people who know your parents think? And then the answer to that is, well, of course. And then the question that arises out of that is, why? I mean, for someone else, your parents are the peripheral people.
Hey, what's up? Welcome to another episode of Expansion Pack. I'm your host, Dan F. Man. It's good to be in here with y'all. Hey, you keep it down over there. With the workers and all that. You hear me? I'm hosting the show now. All right, we back in here again for another Healthy Mental Thursdays. Oh man, I ain't update y'all on Twitch. See if I updated y'all on Twitch. Make sure. Yep. Only thing I didn't do is put Healthy Mental. All right, so we're gonna go ahead. Well, our topic for today is deciding how to live. Deciding how to live. So we're gonna go ahead and get our motivation for the day, and then we're gonna get to that. All right. Healthy. There we go. All right, let's get this motivation started. Motivation for love. You know it's Thursday. We gotta get that motivation for love. Yep. All right, let's go.
Let's say I'm working on a research paper about the future of renewable energy, and I come across a study with findings I want.
You are who you've been looking for. So stop looking for more unless you're looking in a mirror, because it's about time for you to see clearly that you are who you've been looking for. And that empty feeling you got, that hole in your chest, you only got that feeling because you think you're not blessed with everything you need. You see, we live in a consumerist society, which means they need you to buy stuff. And the easiest way to sell it is to tell you you're not enough. Buy this car, you'll get girls. Buy this bra, you'll get guys. And we're seeing it so much that we start believing these lies, but the truth is, the makeup they're selling to make you feel prettier is the same makeup you buy to stop feeling shittier about this lie they keep telling you that you are not enough. And what about the movies we watch, all the shows on TV? The more I watch, the more I see I need you to complete me. And yes, love is the answer, love is the key, but if you can't love yourself, how could you ever love me?
Right.
And loving yourself, what does that even mean? Like massages and selfies and that sort of thing? Because the more I think about it, the more it feels weird. I've always been taught that self-love was something to be feared. I've been taught that arrogance is bad and vanity, it's not good. And even my bracelets are telling me to act how Jesus would. So what should I do? How should I act? I'm supposed to love myself, but how do I even do that? Well, I got a trick that I picked up from a friend who noticed that I was quick to defend her when she would say something negative about herself. She would say, I'm so dumb, and I'd say, you're so brilliant. She'd say, I'm so weak, and I'd say, you're so resilient. And when she said, I feel ugly, and I said, you look beautiful, she asked me why I was so dutifully filling up her cup constantly and yet treating my own cup so irresponsibly. Because when I looked in the mirror, my voice was quite clear. You're ugly, you're too thin, your hairline's receding, you got a pimple on your chin. And that was when she gave me a piece of advice that changed my life. She gave me a hug. And she said, treat yourself like someone you loved. Treat yourself like someone you loved. Now, I had been standing, but I needed to be sitting because I couldn't believe that I had been letting myself keep forgetting that I was who I'd been looking for.
Yes, sir.
And deep in my core, I knew it was time to stop looking for more until I could look through all my fear and look into a mirror and see clearly that the man looking back at me was the only one who can make me happy, and I am already enough.
Yes, sir. My name's Peleo.
And I am not any more special or unique than you. That is why I'm here to speak to you. You are already enough. And when you start to see that, you will start to be that. Your world will get brighter, your load will get lighter, and you can see that with life, you can be a lover, not a fighter. And that life, you deserve it. Because you are worth it. And there is no point in letting yourself keep forgetting, because no matter what you say or do, you are perfect. And so today, I hope I leave you with a direction correction away from the flaws you see in your reflection. They aren't flaws to me, they are simply protection against all the doubts you have of your perfection. So start today. Take a good, long look in the mirror and say, I am who I've been looking for.
I needed that right there. My mouth's acting funny, but all right, how to live. All right, let's go. What do you mean? How to live happy. Did they really say you are not alone? They said you are not alone. If you type in how to live on YouTube, they're going to tell you you are not alone before they give you search results. All right. Let's go Psych2Go.
You wake up late, have an unhealthy breakfast, you finish the gym early. That's right, I know what you're doing. And if this is you, then try this. It's called Motion. Spend less than 10 minutes setting it up. Have your week automatically planned.
Hey, Psych2Goers. What is happiness, and how do we obtain it? It's a question many writers and philosophers have attempted to answer. Everyone wants to be happy, but the meaning of happiness is simultaneously personal based on what we've learned, both from others and from our own experiences. But finding it is difficult. So instead of trying to find happiness, let's create it.
Yes,
Here are 6 ways to live a happier life. Number 1, acknowledge, understand, accept, and let go of negative emotions. When we say let go of negative emotions, we don't mean pushing them away or repressing them. The first step to living a joyous life is to acknowledge, understand, accept, and let go of negative emotions. Anger, sadness, and fear are all examples. Having these negative emotions doesn't have to be a bad thing though. For example, anger alerts you of a boundary being crossed, while fear tells you that there is some kind of danger present. But when you ignore, suppress, or dwell on these negative emotions for too long, they can cause you to feel worse about yourself. These negative emotions can fester inside and create deeply rooted resentments, which can alter your perspective on life, making you a prisoner to your emotions. It takes a lot of maturity and self-awareness to analyze and break down your negative emotions. Elizabeth Scott, PhD, suggests a method called TEARS, which stands for Teach, Express, Accept, Reframe, and Social Support. This distills down to learning and listening to how your body responds to negative emotions and using them to learn about yourself and to grow into a wiser and happier person. Number 2, practice gratitude. If you're stuck in the toxic hustle culture, you won't be able to find long-term happiness. It doesn't matter how many achievements you have, you won't be enough to satisfy your desire, which is why it's important to celebrate the little things. Make your heart happy. Allow yourself to appreciate the little things, the things that you already have in your life. There's plenty of research linking gratitude to happiness.
That's the key.
An article by Harvard Health states that practicing gratitude helps you acknowledge the good things in your life and can help you feel connected to something greater than yourself. Practicing gratitude forces you to look past your worries and perceived losses and to focus on the things that are before you now. If you look closely, you will find so many things to be grateful for. Gratitude instills in you a sense of contentment for the things you have and an acceptance for the things to come. One way to practice gratitude is to keep track of the things you are grateful for in a journal, starting with writing 3 things you're grateful for each day. Number 3, try new experiences. Is there something you'd like to try out? Making new experiences is another way to live a joyous life. It gives you confidence and a reason to be proud of yourself. Having new experiences can also help you replace bad experiences. Going on vacations, traveling to exotic countries are not the only things you can do. You can simply try something new, like going to a new restaurant to eat. Number 4, stay committed to what you're passionate about, no matter what. What truly makes you feel fulfilled in life? Think about what you enjoy doing and find a method to create time for it. Whether it's dancing, painting, cooking, yoga, volunteering at a pet shelter, or reading. Seeking fulfillment boosts your self-esteem and helps you realize that your happiness does not depend on other people's perceptions, or even your own. It helps you trust your strength and overcome your fears. A way to seek self-fulfillment is to work towards your goals and ambitions and try to accomplish them. It doesn't matter if they're small. Accomplishing small goals can also give you a reason to be proud of yourself. Number 5, make a conscious effort to build meaningful relationships with people who add value to your life. It's easy to lose touch with the people you care about, especially when you're too occupied with your personal and professional life. However, when people are on their deathbeds, many agree that the most important thing in life is to have meaningful relationships with others. Even if it takes time and effort, it's important that you make an attempt to keep in touch with the people you care about and don't take them for granted. And number 6, share the happiness. Emotions are contagious. They trickle down through our interpersonal relationships and affect those around us. Nicholas Christakis, professor of medical sociology and medicine at Harvard Medical School, found that happiness is a collective phenomenon. One of his studies suggests that the closer, whether in distance or relation, you are with someone who is happy, the happier you will become. The theory sounds a bit strange, but think about the last time you hung out with a friend and how you felt after. How you both felt during or prior to hanging out are transmitted unconsciously in conversation, which then affects how you feel. The great thing about this is that happiness and other positive emotions can be transmitted and come back to you. So the more you spread happiness, the better you will feel. Have you tried to do any of these things?
I like it.
And how did it make you feel? Let us know in the comments below. The references and studies used are added in the description below.
Oh my God.
Until next time, take care and thanks for watching.
Turn your billion-dollar web app idea into reality with Hostinger Horizons. To start, just tell Horizons what you want to create and make edits as you go by chatting with the AI. No coding, no extra setup. Go to hostinger.com and try it for free today.
Here's my mouse. What's up with my mouse? All right. To increase self-esteem. This is funny. Now to work. The mouse want to work.
Your self-esteem is how you see yourself and your opinion of yourself. How useful do you feel? Do you believe you have good qualities? Do you think you're able to do things as well as other people? That's what I'm talking about today. I'm Dr. Tracy Marks, a psychiatrist, and I make mental health education videos. Some people have a healthy amount of self-esteem, while others struggle to have a positive self-image. Here are some signs that you have low self-esteem. You criticize and blame yourself for things. You're eager to please people by going above and beyond to make people happy. You're self-conscious and second-guess yourself. It's hard for you to assert your needs. You focus a lot on your weaknesses. You're not born with low self-esteem. It results from early life experiences that shape your self-concept. Some of these early experiences are things like harsh punishment, abuse, or neglect. Children often process these experiences as their fault and believe that they deserve to be sad because there's something wrong with them. A step down from overt abuse is not feeling warmth or nurturing from your caretakers. Part of our self-esteem development comes from receiving praise, validation, and encouragement. But some people aren't good at demonstrating this.
Right.
Think about how things are in your day-to-day. How often are people saying, "Great job"? They'll speak up if there's a problem, but if you're doing well, they just don't say anything.
Say nothing.
So it's not that hard to have a parent who's busy and doesn't have time to give you the support and encouragement you really need in those formative years. Failing to satisfy others' expectations can also negatively impact your self-esteem. Were you the irresponsible child, the screw-up, the only child who didn't go to college? If your parents had unreasonable expectations of you as a child, you're not going to recognize that those expectations are unreasonable. You just think that you're not good enough or you're a disappointment. And veering away from parents for a moment, another early experience that can negatively impact your self-esteem is you don't fit in with your peers. This becomes especially important in the teen years when you're establishing your identity. You don't have to be a part of a large group, you just need to feel like you can relate to and connect with the people you consider in your social group. Even though those early experiences set the foundation for your self-concept, having an emotionally abusive relationship in your early adult years can also chip away your self-esteem. Self-esteem is not all or nothing. You can generally think well of yourself and your abilities, but be vulnerable in certain areas. Here's an example. Suppose your parents were loving and supportive, but you were bullied by classmates because of the way you looked or acted. You know your parents love you, but that's not enough. You also need to feel accepted by your peers. So you finish college, you start working,
Thanks for the
you
follow,
generally
whoever
feel
just followed
good
me.
about your abilities. But you're insecure when it comes to relationships and trusting people with your feelings. You get into a relationship with someone who uses criticism to control you. You mistake their jealous nature for love and end up spending 2 years being conditioned to believe that you're nothing without this person. You finally recognize that this person is a negative influence and you break free, but your self-esteem is in the toilet. You have a lot of rehabilitation to do to regain your confidence and undo the negative beliefs that you developed during the relationship. One might argue that a person with healthy self-esteem wouldn't be able to stay in a relationship that makes them feel bad about themselves. My answer to that is we're all flawed. No parent is able to meet all of your emotional needs. If you think of your self-esteem as a protective barrier, even the most well-adjusted person will have some holes in the barrier, holes that allow negative influences to slip through and do damage. But if you start out with a strong barrier without a lot of holes, the damage is minimal and you're able to regroup and recover. That's part of resilience, recovering from adversity. In the relationship example, the person with low self-esteem has a lot of holes in their barrier and stays in the toxic relationship that affirms their negative beliefs about themselves.
Clear.
What keeps you stuck in these negative beliefs about yourself? The beliefs are perpetuated by rules you develop to avoid facing the negative feelings. Some examples are, I must please people to avoid criticism. It's better not to try than to get it wrong or fail. I must not speak up or express my opinion or people will reject me.
Let me guess. You're thinking about going to therapy. And as a therapist myself, of course I'm going to say that's a great idea. But first, let's talk about the things they don't tell you. First of all, you're going to say, I'm fine, like 300 times.
All right.
Spoiler alert, you're there.
These are some of the signs that I mentioned earlier. These rules that you set up for yourself are also called safety behaviors. They are the things that you do that keep you from activating your negative core beliefs.
In the background.
Of this. If you don't offer to do something, you won't get blamed if it goes wrong. But if you break the rule of not acting and volunteer to do something for someone and it does go wrong, you get tormented with these thoughts of, see, I can't do anything right. I'm an idiot. What was I thinking? These harsh, self-critical thoughts complete the cycle of reinforcing your negative beliefs and perpetuating your low self-esteem. What can you do to improve your self-esteem? 4 things. First, identify your core beliefs. Typical negative beliefs are, I'm not good enough, I'm not important, I'm unacceptable, I'm defective, I'm unlovable. Keep in mind, these may not be things you've ever said aloud, but your behavior, the decisions you make, the things you avoid, those are the things that tell the real story of what you believe. So your actions are based on these beliefs. Next, you want to identify your safety behaviors that help you avoid facing these beliefs. Go back to the things that I mentioned earlier, like people-pleasing, being perfectionistic, not speaking up, not having any ambition. The third step is to face your fears by breaking your rules or dropping the safety behaviors. This gives you a chance to test your negative predictions. If you avoid expressing your opinion because you predict that the person will reject you, test that out by giving your opposing view and see what happens. You may be surprised to see that you're not rejected, but instead you spark a spirited conversation that would otherwise have been one-sided. People may find you more interesting. But if someone disagrees with you, a disagreement isn't a rejection. By taking this risk of speaking up, you get to learn that you can indeed handle someone disagreeing with you. Then the fourth step is to replace your self-criticism with self-compassion. Let's say with the previous example of speaking up and giving an opposing opinion, that the person that you're talking to doesn't like your opinion and argues back. Instead of being harsh with yourself for starting an argument, give yourself praise for asserting your opinion.
That's yours.
You're not responsible for other people's behavior. If they can't handle an opposing viewpoint, it's a negative reflection on them and not you. You might say,
but that just means that I'm not good with people if I make them mad all the time.
Well,
no one is good with someone who lashes out when someone disagrees with them. No one enjoys that. So recognizing that you're not alone in your reaction to feeling bad when someone insults you takes the focus off you and allows you to feel like your experience is common and not the result of a personal defect. That's one way to adjust your thoughts to make them kinder and less self-critical. If you find that you have a harsh inner critical voice, take a look at these 2 videos on silencing your inner critic.
I'm gonna check this one out. Let's see what's up, y'all.
Why did Amazon send me $20,000? Because I use Amazon AI. I'm going to show you a way to potentially make money by pairing Amazon with the power of AI without ever selling physical products. And I promise you've never heard about this before.
Why is Amazon paying me $63,000 a month? Well, I didn't make this kind of money selling yoga mats and toasters, and I damn sure wasn't talking my friends into buying vitamins and juices. I did it with a free app that's probably...
We all have a voice in our head that makes judgments about any given situation. Sometimes the judgment is helpful because it helps us escape harm or avoid mistakes. But sometimes the voice is harmful when it's overly critical by putting you down and making you doubt yourself. That's what I'm talking about today. 7 signs that your inner critic is too harsh and making you feel hostile toward yourself. I'm Dr. Tracy Marks, a psychiatrist, and I make mental health education videos. Number 1, you're never satisfied with your work. You have a perfectionistic tendency and you set unrealistic goals. When you're working on something, you may find yourself saying, is that it? Are you really done with this? No matter how hard you try, you can't seem to be content with your work. You're always finding faults and ways to improve, which can lead to feeling like you're never good enough. Number 2, you dwell on your mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes, but when you're too self-critical, you dwell on them long.
Do y'all know need that shot. All right, go.
After they've happened. You might even beat yourself up over small slip-ups that don't really matter in the grand scheme of things. Number 3, you spend a lot of time comparing yourself to others. When you're too self-critical, you often find yourself comparing your own work or abilities to others. Even if the person to whom you're comparing yourself to hasn't even achieved as much as you have, you still find a reason why they're at an advantage over you. For example, suppose people praise you for doing really good work by seeing the big picture of things and helping people organize. And you think, well, that's nice, but seeing the big picture hasn't earned me more money. Nancy, who's not good at planning and seeing the big picture, got promoted over me. So for you, being good at planning still leaves you feeling unfulfilled. Number 4, you blame yourself for all the negative things that happen around you. You spend a lot of time deconstructing events and see your actions as the reason that something bad happened, even if there's 5 degrees of separation between you and the negative outcome. Even if you acknowledge to yourself that you really are on the fringe of the blame and not directly responsible, you still over-focus on your shortcomings and the role that they played. And what you're doing here is magnifying your contribution well beyond what it actually was. Number 5, you don't try hard for things, give up easily, or don't try at all because you believe, what's the point? You're going to mess it up anyway. Or why bother? Things never work out in your favor anyway. Even if you don't see your ineptitude as the reason
for can't stay like that, but I understand.
For failure, you believe life and circumstances are just against you, like being jinxed to always get the bad deal because you attract bad outcomes. So it may be bad luck, but there's something about you that just attracts bad luck. Number 6, you're never satisfied with your appearance. You may have a hard time seeing yourself as desirable. You wished you looked differently or spoke differently, and these feelings affect your confidence around others. It could also affect your relationships if you project these thoughts and feelings onto other people.
Right.
Projection is an unconscious process where you attribute your own thoughts to someone else. I say that you don't like me and think I'm unattractive. Now, you may think that, but you never told me that or ever said anything critical to indicate that. But I think that about myself, but I say that it's what you think about me. So that's how your inner critic can affect what you think about other people if you assume that they think the same about you that you think about yourself. And then there's number 7. You feel guilty about a lot of things, even if they're in the remote past. And this is similar to blaming yourself for things, but it takes it a step further. With basic self-blame, you may keep pushing yourself to do better and better and may never feel satisfied that you've finally done your best.
Yes.
So that's more of an aiming for perfection thing. But with guilt, you can't forgive yourself for decisions that you made or things that you said that may or may not have resulted in a negative outcome. Here's an example. This is not real. John proposes to me after graduation. John wants to get married and immediately have children. I turned down John's proposal because I want to travel the world before I settle down with a family. I take a job in Europe, and that's the end of the relationship with John. I become very successful in my career and don't get too serious with relationships because I want to get back to the United States eventually, and I don't want another John situation where I'm ready to go home, but my Italian stallion doesn't want to follow me back to the States. I make it back to the US as a single woman in my late 30s and can't find a life partner.
Right.
I spend a decade blaming and eventually hating myself for all the decisions I made along the way to put my career first over relationships. Now, that's a long example, and anyone can be disappointed by those same set of circumstances. But the difference is in my level of acceptance and self-compassion. It's one thing to be disappointed at the life milestones that I missed out on and have regrets, but it's another thing to internalize the blame to the extent that I'm overloaded with guilt, shame, and self-loathing. Stay tuned for part 2 of this topic of confronting your inner critic.
I like that.
It will publish next week, and when it's out, I'll have it linked in this video and it'll appear right here. Thanks for watching.
Listen to this
See you next time.
Mouse.
My name means loved by God.
Oh, they didn't.
That I'm over, and when it's out here.
All right, let me see this one.
This video is a follow-up on my video on signs that your inner voice is too critical. Today, I'm going to talk about how to turn your inner critic into an inner coach. I'm Dr. Tracy Marks, a psychiatrist, and I make mental health education videos. Your inner critic holds you back by over-focusing on faults and failures and making you dislike yourself and doubt your judgment. The process for getting past this involves recognizing your overly critical thoughts, challenging the reality of those thoughts, and reframing the thoughts into ones that are supportive and help you expand and grow. There are lots of overlapping psychological concepts to this idea, but a similar concept is called the fixed mindset versus the growth mindset.
Okay.
With a fixed mindset, you're focused on the problems and the failures. It's like you hit a dead end. If something didn't work out in your favor, that's the end of the story. With a growth mindset, you take the failures and try to find a way to adjust the situation in a way that may work better for you, or use the failure or obstacle as a jumping off point to help you do something similar but different. It's called growth because the process usually involves learning something new, accepting a different perspective, or allowing your mind to be changed about how you approach something. You allow for things to be in a gray area and not insist on them being black or white. It's okay to be gray. Now, everything can't be positive. There is a normal amount of criticism that's realistic. Recognizing and purging unhelpful thoughts or correcting mistakes is a normal part of growth. But what makes someone's inner critical voice overly harsh and rejecting? As with a lot of things, our early childhood experiences shape how we think, what we value, how we interpret and react to things. If you had a harsh and overly critical caregiver, and the criticism wasn't balanced by praise and encouragement, you can internalize their rejecting comments and make them your own. So when you do something where you feel you don't measure up, it's like you hear what your caregiver would have said to you. Things like, "You're not finished with that, are you? You're not going to leave it like that." You may hear that when you think that you've finished with something, but you question if it's good enough. Or you could hear, "You'll never amount to anything if you don't pull it together and work harder." If you internalize that script, you can underperform by not trying very hard with things because why bother? You don't have what it takes anyway, or you might as well save yourself the trouble. The way to work through this is to reflect on your early life experiences. And this would be a great thing to write in a journal so you can workshop it. Some of these questions require some deep thought, and you may need to come back to it later. Or something may pop into your head when you're doing something else. And if so, just jot it down, maybe in the Notes app of your phone, and then transfer it later to your journal. So start by thinking about the people who you were close to and looked up to. It may be more than just your parents. It could be older siblings and relatives. It could be teachers, in fact. Then think about situations where they said things that made you feel bad about yourself. What did they say? Did you hear some of those things over and over again? Which statements hurt more? Write down these statements. Do any of these sound like things that you say to yourself now? You may think, well, I don't say this. I hear my mom's voice telling me this.
Right.
Well, that may be how it's coming across. But really, now it's your thought disguised as your mother saying it. You've owned it as something you believe about yourself.
Right.
Another way to recognize some of these thoughts is to pay attention to when you downplay things or minimize things. Let's say you get recognized for something that you did, and instead of glowing in the praise and enjoying it, you say to yourself or aloud,
"It's only because I had a lot of help from other people."
Or,
"I only accomplished this because I didn't have much competition."
If you want to be a nurse and you want to graduate as fast as possible, ECPI is the place to do it.
Start sooner, finish faster. ECPI University.
write down these discouraging statements.
My fault,
Do
y'all.
they sound like something that was said to you or that you heard from others? I said that you can internalize caregivers' criticism, but you can also mimic the behavior of your caregivers even if they didn't direct their own self-criticism toward you. It's contagious. You can learn to respond this way by watching them respond this way.
Right.
Next, you want to look at your statements. And this is a list that you can add to at any time that you recognize other discouraging thinking patterns. Recognize that you are not your thoughts. You want to observe the thoughts as
right.
merely an observation about a situation and not a declaration of fact. And this is called metacognition, when you objectively think about your thoughts. Ask yourself, is the thought helpful or hurtful? Sometimes criticism promotes progress because you get a chance to prune away behaviors that don't serve you. But things like,
I'll never be able to get what I want,
is not helpful. It's too absolute and involves fortune telling.
Right.
You may not be able to get a specific thing that you want at the moment, but you can work toward getting something else that brings you joy in the end. Next, you want to show yourself kindness and compassion. And one way to do this is to talk to yourself as if you were a friend. If your friend said the same thing to you, what would you say to them? Another way to support yourself is to say what you would say to your younger self. If you, as an adult, were speaking to yourself as a child, saying this aloud, what would you say to that child to encourage them? You have it in yourself to support and encourage a friend or an innocent child, so why can't you be that kind to yourself?
because I don't deserve that kind of understanding. I'm a screw up.
Says who? Someone long ago may have said that, but now you're the one who's saying it. You're keeping the party going long after the guests have left. The last thing that you can do to reframe your negative assumptions and beliefs is to add the word yet to the end of your statement when applicable. Examples are,
I'm not good at this yet. Things aren't working out for me yet. I'm not smart enough for this yet.
What I'm illustrating to you is based on cognitive behavior therapy. You can do this on your own, but it can work even better with the help of a therapist. And it's not easy to find a therapist or even afford one.
Right.
A really good resource, if you're in the United States, is the BetterHelp platform. For a low monthly fee, you get a therapist who's licensed in your state, and you can have virtual sessions and the ability to send them messages in between appointments. I've had patients who've had split treatment with me and a therapist they found through BetterHelp. That's actually how I first heard about the service. They also have webinars on various topics that you can attend to supplement your therapy. If you're interested in this, you can sign up using my sponsored link for 10% off your first month. You can also go to betterhelp.com/drmarks. Watch this video for more on negative stories you tell yourself, and that's followed by a video on challenging those negative beliefs, and it comes with a free download that you can use.
Shut up, lady.
Thanks for watching. See you next time.
Oh, hey, how's it going? I'm pen and paper guy. And I'm motion. Well, I have a system.
How do you want to live? That's my question for right now. My mouse acting stupid for some reason. And it ain't that it need to be charged, I don't think so. Forgive me for the distraction. But let's see, do you know what you want? Let's see what she's saying. It's only 2 minutes.
Hey everybody, I got a great question from Morgan, and she writes with a question that we get asked all the time. And that question is, what do you suggest, Mel, for accessing what you really want? You know, I talk a lot about being honest with yourself about what you want. And if you're somebody that's watching this and you have no clue what you want, I'm going to say that's total bullshit. I think you've probably decided that either you can't have it because you don't think you're smart enough or good enough or worthy enough, or maybe you think you're too old, or you've told yourself that you can't make a living doing it. Both are complete and utter lies that you're telling yourself. What you need to do is ask yourself this. If you took money off the table, if you didn't give a shit what anybody else thought, what's the thing you would love to be doing with your life? Seriously. Do you dream of being a professional photographer? Do you want to open your own restaurant? You always thought about traveling the world and entertaining kids with your juggling skills. I don't know, it's your life. You get to choose what you want to do. Be honest with yourself. What is it that you would want to do with your life if you didn't have to pay the bills doing it?
Got it.
Another thing you can ask yourself, who do you find yourself sort of envious of? You know, like you look at their life and you just think, gosh, how awesome that they get to do that. Well, once you have that answer for yourself, you've gotten really honest, you've pushed the bullshit aside, and you've really asked it for yourself and answered the question honestly, all you got to do is explore it. That's it. Just find one thing that you can do to enrich and expand your knowledge about it. Find one course online, Google the topic, stalk people that are pursuing this line of work. That's how you start to do it, one step at a time. So start with answering the question, what do you really want, with a massive dose of honesty. Google the topic and find one thing that you can do, just one. Push yourself and start to explore it. If you were to wake up and do that every single day, spend 10 minutes a day, you would be startled, astonished by what your life looks like in a matter of a year or two.
Let's try another one.
Brainy Dose presents 12 harsh truths you need to accept to live a happy life. We all want a happy and fulfilling life, but few people actually attain it.
Yes, it is.
It's unrealistic to keep doing the same old thing and expect circumstances to change. Unfortunately, that's not how life works. Whether it be due to fear, laziness, or ignorance, people often overlook the things that truly make a difference. Regardless of your current situation, accepting the following harsh truths about life will definitely contribute to your future happiness. Number 1, you're not that important. Remember that time you tripped and fell? Some people laughed, and others asked if you were okay. Of course you were fine, but embarrassed beyond belief. You thought they'd be telling that story about you for the rest of your life. The truth is that you're just not that important. You play a very minor role in other people's lives. As embarrassing as it was for you, everyone else probably forgot about what happened after a short while. Just like you're wrapped up in your own life, so are they.
Right.
And that's not a bad thing. It's just a fact of life.
Right.
Number 2, not everyone is going to like you. Remember that popular girl or guy in high school who was always the center of attention and everyone seemed to like? Not everyone can be that person, and you shouldn't strive to be. Life isn't a popularity contest, and not everyone will see your true value and appreciate you. So instead of ruminating on that, consider how you can be a better version of yourself. Trying to prove yourself to others who don't really matter anyway is a waste of time and energy. Live your life surrounded by people who accept you as you are. Number 3, you are not defined by what you have.
Yes.
A lot of people want to believe and try to convince themselves that money doesn't matter that much.
Stop messing with your brother.
The truth is that money, while not everything, is necessary to thrive in today's society. It may not buy happiness, but it puts a roof over your head, shoes on your feet, and food on the table. All things we need to survive. That being said, money and the things it provides do not define who you are. A person with a huge house and expensive car is not necessarily better than someone who lives in an apartment and rides the bus. Regardless of what you have, people form their own perception of you based on your consistent actions and how you impact them personally. Number 4, you always have a choice. We are not simply the victims of external forces. We have the power of choice, and you can decide how you respond to what happens to you. If someone were punching you in the face, Would you stand there and let them continue punching you? Hopefully not. And while you might be tempted to punch back, simply moving out of the way is likely a better option.
Right.
Applying this example to everyday life, you are the only one who can determine how others treat you. If someone shows no regard for your well-being, it's completely acceptable to walk away. The harsh truth is that how others treat you is based on what you allow. So, if you command respect, you'll be respected. However, if you act like a doormat, it will almost certainly ensure that others will walk all over you. Number 5, your feelings are caused by your thoughts. This is going to sound pretty meta, but we don't feel any certain way about something because of that thing itself. Rather, we feel that way because of our perception of that thing, person, or situation. In short, our thoughts create our feelings, and our feelings determine our behavior. Therefore, if you want to feel differently, start with your thoughts. Number 6, if you don't learn to be accountable, you will be held accountable. Your words and decisions have consequences, whether positive or negative. If you don't hold yourself accountable, someone else surely will. On a macro level, accountability is required to maintain order in society. On a smaller scale, it helps us maintain our integrity so that we can be better individuals and lead happier lives. Number 7, people want you to do well, but not better than them. While some people genuinely want you to succeed, others may just do so until you threaten to outperform
Right.
them. Be discerning of others' motives, and don't waste your time or energy on those who don't have your best interest in mind. Ignore the negativity and keep walking toward your goals. Dedication, persistence, and consistency will get you where you want to go. Number 8, there is no perfect time to do anything. People often want to wait for the right time to do something or make a change. But regardless of what it is, you'll always be able to come up with an excuse not to start something, whether it's due to a lack of money, your age, not enough time, or anything else. Unfortunately, the harsh truth is that the perfect time doesn't exist, and that thing you've been putting off may never get done. Number 9, someone always has it better or worse than you. Your situation could always be better, or it could be worse. Don't make the mistake of comparing yourself to others. It's counterproductive and often discouraging, since everything in life is relative. What might be a cakewalk for you might be a challenge for someone else, and vice versa. Always be compassionate to yourself and others. Number 10, fear will keep you from living. It's natural to experience fear when encountering something new. It's a biological response to the unknown, but you can't allow it to hinder you from trying different things. Simply recognize that it's unfamiliar and approach it with an attitude of excitement and curiosity. If you don't face your fear, it can easily lead to missed opportunities. After all, life is full of exciting challenges, reserved for those who are bold enough to step out of their comfort zone. Number 11, your expectations are what cause disappointment. When someone lets you down, it's usually the result of your own unrealistic or misplaced expectations, rather than the shortcomings of others. Things don't always work out exactly as we hope, and that's okay. So keep your expectations in check. It will prevent you from being disappointed unnecessarily. Number 12, you live the life you create for yourself. Taking ownership of your life is one of the most empowering things you can do.
Right.
If you're unhappy with your situation, you're the only person who can make the necessary changes to improve it. If you start your day off on the wrong foot, you can either allow the rest of your day to be ruined, or you can take control and do what's necessary to turn things around. The sooner you acknowledge that you alone are responsible for and capable of creating your own circumstances, the sooner you'll start to take steps toward living the life you desire. Most people don't like to hear these universal truths, and while they may seem a bit harsh, they're bound to pop up in your day-to-day life. So it's important to be aware of them and to accept them. Once you do, you'll find your days much happier and more fulfilling. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends so we can keep making them.
Right. And we will. My mouth's still messed up. So hold on, y'all. And I'm in this game. All right. So we're going to get up out of here for the day in a couple seconds. But how do you want to live? Do you want to live to the best of your ability? Do you want to live short of your ability? Do you just want to coast? At this stage in life, I just want to coast. I just want to chill out. I take a couple L's in games, take some wins, track out the course of my life, study sometimes, take care of my kids. That's just it for me. So you decide what you want to do. So it's been another good day to spend with y'all here on Expansion Pack. I'm your host, Dan F. Man. My mouse was messing up the whole time, which caused me to lose a lot of games today. Well, I don't care. That's all good. Yeah, my mouse. I don't know. That's not fair. Like I say. But eventually it'll come back online. And then I can use it. But all right, y'all. I'm going to holler at y'all tomorrow. Peace. Fun Fridays.
Setting goals that will actually push you to do your best work without pushing you beyond the limit of what's possible. If you need help setting beneficial goals, a SMART goals template will help. This template makes it easy to set goals that are challenging yet achievable, allowing you to create goals that will actually help motivate you to do your best work. Finally, consider the why. There are probably plenty of times where you find yourself struggling to complete what may seem like a simple or mundane task. In these times, it's important to consider the why and focus for a moment on the big picture. Chances are that what may seem like a mundane task is really an important part of the big picture. Before you complete this task, nobody can do their work, but after you complete the task, many people can do many jobs. By taking the time to consider how your work is helping to make it all possible, you can refocus yourself and muster the motivation to get the job done. In most cases, there really is no such thing as a task that is senseless and unimportant. We all have a why behind the work we do, and sometimes it can be very helpful to consider this why. Now, what have you learned in this video that you can use to help keep yourself motivated and get more work done faster and easier than ever before? Write that one idea down and then take action on it immediately. If you enjoyed this video and you feel it was valuable in teaching you about staying motivated at work, subscribe to my channel, like this video, and share this video with your friends. Don't forget to click the button on the screen for a free gift. Thanks.